So for Black women, burnout is often a side effect of hyperperformance, which is really working extra hard to prove yourself.
How we've been conditioned to prove our worth and to work hard and show up and put in 210% just so that we can get seen, recognized, acknowledged. The physical body is absolutely keeping score of every single thing that you go through. And then that generally manifests itself physically in the body in the way of autoimmune disease. So super high functioning, super high achiever, big flashy job, right? The corporate job. And I arrived at a success that did not feel good to me at all. I remember crying quite a bit because I would be that mom that was like the last person to pick her up from daycare. This poor baby is like the last one, and that really, really weighed on me. Writing the book was just a way of reminding people that you are worthy of experiencing joy, not burnout. And you don't have to wait until tomorrow to pencil joy into your life.
Jade, I'm so excited to talk about your book today. I've got it right here, the anti-bucket list. And the whole focus of that is how to avoid and get away from burnout, right? So I want to start out by talking to you about what led you to write the book, because I know you started out with some burnout experiences yourself, that kind of led you to want to write this book and inspire and encourage other people. So for Black women, burnout is often a side effect of hyperperformance, which is really working extra hard to prove yourself. So how does your book help stop people from trying to prove themselves to people who don't see them?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like the book starts by talking about how we've been conditioned to prove our worth and to work hard and show up and put in 210% just so that we can get seen, recognized, acknowledged. And writing the book was just a way of reminding people that you are worthy of experiencing joy, not burnout, regardless of where you are in life. You don't have to be climbing out of a hole at all times to feel like you're doing good in life, and you don't have to wait until tomorrow to pencil joy into your life. It's available to you right now.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So can you kind of summarize like what your experience was with burnout, and how it was affecting you?
Absolutely. So I would say super high functioning, super high achiever, did all the right things, graduated high school young, graduated college young, and went and got this like big flashy job, right? The corporate job. These are the things that you've been working toward your entire grade school life. You're told that you're meant to do these things, and then you're going to arrive at success. And I arrived at a success that did not feel good to me at all. So I think from an outsider's perspective, everything looked really good. We've got money coming in, we've got a house and cars, we were able to start a family and do all of these wonderful things. But at the expense of my well-being. So it was important for me to try to like backpedal or backtrack and then create success on my own terms, right? Define what success looks like and then start working toward that instead of this like pre-prescribed definition of success.
Okay. So when you say, you didn't like how it looked when you got there from a success standpoint, I think a lot of people can relate to that. So what was missing? Like, what did you not like about it?
What was missing mostly, I would say, is balance. The balance between
Mm,
that grind, right? The 40 hours a week, if you're lucky. Some of us are putting in 50, 60 hours a week. Yeah, but balance between that and then like your real life. I feel like sometimes you end up in those situations where the work takes over everything. It dominates everything. It takes more than the 8 hour day. And then by the time you get home to your family or whatever you have going on outside of work, you don't really have any energy, anything left to give, right? Like showing up as a shell of yourself, frustrated, tired, exhausted, grumpy, right? And then you get to rush to bed and do it all again tomorrow.
okay. Did you feel like you were having to choose between your professional life and motherhood, being a wife, those type of
Yeah.
things.
Absolutely. I remember crying quite a bit, especially when my daughter was a toddler, because I would be that mom that was like the last person to pick her up from daycare. This poor baby is like the last one, in that classroom. I remember crying about that quite a bit, or being late to pick her up. Then I'm being charged by the minute because I was late to pick her up. Leaving the office at a decent time, even 5:30, 6 o'clock, I still couldn't even get to my child on time. And that really, really weighed on me heavily. And then by the time I would like rush in through the door, right now I'm standing up in front of the stove. Now I'm flustered. I haven't even had any time to decompress. And by the time the food is on the table and we're eating, like I'm already like thinking, okay, like bath routine, like get her into bed. Like there was no quality time ever available to us as a family when I was letting work kind of dictate my schedule and take over my life the way that it did.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk about how these things manifest kind of in the body. Right. So check engine light, like when you're driving your car, check engine light comes on. It's a sign something's wrong, right? There's something that needs to be addressed with the vehicle. And so I feel like we as humans kind of have that as well. We have signs that come up to say you need to stop and pay attention to what's going on with you and something needs to change.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and what are the things that maybe we kind of overlook that we shouldn't?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I think I'll start by saying that we're conditioned to be so disconnected from our bodies that I don't even think that we know how to listen to our body when it starts to speak to us. Because I do believe that the body starts in a whisper and then starts speaking louder as we continue to ignore it. But I would say once things get pretty extreme, what you could look for would be extreme fatigue, just feeling tired, or maybe just that like feeling of lack of motivation, to get up and do really anything, right? Like from the workday to your responsibilities with the family. If you're finding unmotivated, you're finding that you're super tired, or you're finding that you're frustrated quite a bit of the time, right? Whether that's like snapping at the kids or at your husband, that's probably a sign that something is out of balance. Something needs to be reassessed.
Okay. Okay. What about the gut in in that area? Is there any signs there that maybe something could be off?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think I would say early days, I wasn't really paying attention to any signs, signals from the gut at all. Again, I think we are kind of taught to disregard what the body's telling us and just obey authority, right? Whether that's in the classroom, in the workplace. But yeah, you can end up with extreme digestion issues, bloating, impacting your sleep. Like all of these things would definitely be key signs of burnout.
What about autoimmune issues and autoimmune disease? Is that
Yeah, absolutely. So the physical body is absolutely keeping score of every single thing that you go through and encounter. And some research that I've come across recently, is that individuals that have that people-pleasing tendency, that yes, ma'am, yes, sir, at all times tendency, they are quicker to self-abandon, right? Quicker to not listen to what their internal guidance is sharing with them to keep others around them comfortable. And then that generally manifests itself physically in the body in the way of autoimmune disease. So middle-aged women, so many of us, right, have these like unknown, scary, body attacking itself type of diagnoses. And I truly believe it is as a result of like all of this conditioning that we've been through.
yeah, I mean that's so interesting that because you heard about people pleasing and how that can be, a challenge for some people, but to think that it has a physical manifestation and, health effects that kind of puts just a whole new lens on the whole thing to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I would even go as far as saying, the good things that you do for your body, right, that is going to manifest physically for you in a good way. And then the opposite of that is true as well, right? If you're ignoring the body, you're running your body into the ground, all of those things are absolutely going to play out in the real world, right? Like your body's going to start breaking down.
Speaking of self-care, I feel like sometimes we don't take the break because we feel like it needs to be some big thing. It doesn't have to be a big trip in order for you to take time to care for yourself. Sometimes it can be something simple, right? How is the big grand trip actually a recipe for getting even more exhausted?
Yeah, when we focus all of our energy on the big trip that we have to save 2 years for, we are like outsourcing our relief to the future, deferring it to the future, right? So in the meantime, while you're trying to get to that end point, that vacation, you're driving yourself into the ground. And then you go on the vacation and it lasts probably a week because that's all the PTO that you have. And then you have to come back into this rhythm that is not sustainable. So putting things off for the big trip or for the big future bucket list item is actually counterproductive to self-care.
Let's talk about the performance side of things, right? Because I think when we talk about people pleasing, we just talked about all these warning signs. Some of that can come from the mindset of attaching our worth to what we achieve.
Yeah, we are all absolutely worthy, regardless of what our output is. And if nobody has ever taken the time to directly share that message with you, let me be the first. Um, we're all so worthy, right, of having this beautiful life that feels good in our own skin, a life that we have the ability to design in a sense. And it doesn't matter how much you're achieving or how many degrees or how many letters are after your name. Like, I do believe that it's almost like a fundamental human right that we should all have a fulfilling and big and beautiful life.